It was supposed to be a clean, solo job, his last. But he wasn't the only ghost in the machine that night. Julian the ghost. Vance had spent 6 months planning this. The target, the serpent's eye, a necklace dripping with history and emeralds, set for auction at the Blackwood Gallery. The security was legendary, a symphony of pressure plates, laser grids, and thermal sensors. But Julian was a conductor, and this was his final masterpiece. He had blueprints memorized, guard rotations timed to the millisecond, and a custom-built EMP device the size of a cufflink. His entry was flawless. Dressed as a catering staff member, he'd slipped away during the pre-auction chaos, navigating the service corridors like a phantom. His destination was the ventilation shaft directly above the main vault. The serpent's eye sat alone in its glass case, a beacon under a single spotlight. He'd studied the case for weeks. It was rigged with a seismic sensor. One wrong move, and the entire building would lock down. His plan was elegant. A micro-suction cup attached to a carbon fiber line, thin as a spider's thread, would lift the necklace while a counterweight simultaneously lowered a perfect replica onto the display pedestal. No change in weight, no alarm. He was meticulous. He was patient. He was the best. He abseiled down the shaft, silent as a whisper, landing softly on the vault's ceiling grate. Below, the auction house was a distant murmur of polite applause and clinking champagne glasses. He pried the grate open, the metal groaning softly. He paused, listening. Nothing, just the hum of the climate control. He lowered his line, the micro-suction cup glinting. He watched through his night vision goggles as it descended, a tiny predator inching toward its prey. The cup was centimeters from the glass when he saw it. A flicker, a shadow that didn't belong. On the opposite side of the vault, a second figure was emerging from an air duct. He froze, his heart pounding a frantic rhythm against his ribs. This was impossible. No one else could have breached the perimeter. This new arrival was dressed in all black, their movements fluid and impossibly silent. They were a mirror image of him, a ghost in the same machine. His rival. He knew who it was. It had to be Silas, a phantom thief from the East, known for their audacious, high-tech heists. Julian had only ever heard whispers and legends. Now, Silas was here for his prize. The tension in the vault became a physical presence. They locked eyes across the room, two predators staring each other down over a kill. Silas gave a subtle, almost imperceptible shake of their head, a silent warning. Julian responded with a slight narrowing of his eyes. The game had changed. This wasn't a heist anymore. It was a duel. Silas produced a small, silver device and aimed it at the case's control panel. A jamming signal. Smart. It would momentarily disable the wireless link to the central security hub. But Julian knew the system had a hardwired backup. Silas was fast, but they were about to trip a silent alarm. Julian had to act. He couldn't let a rookie mistake ruin his final score. He quickly typed a command into his wrist-mounted computer, overriding the hardwired backup for precisely 3 seconds. Just long enough. Silas's jammer flickered on, and a green light on the control panel blinked off. The case was momentarily vulnerable. In that instant, Silas moved. A laser cutter, no bigger than a pen, sliced a perfect circle in the glass, a suction device pulling the cut piece away without a sound. Julian watched, both impressed and infuriated. It was a brute force approach, but undeniably effective. As Silas's hand reached for the necklace, Julian made his move. He released his own line. His microsuction cup shot down and latched onto the serpent SI a fraction of a second before Silas' south fingers could close around it. He yanked. The necklace flew upwards, a glittering pendulum swinging wildly in the air between them. Silas lunged, missing it by an inch. The counterweight Julian had prepared clattered uselessly to the floor. The seismic sensor screamed. Red lights flashed. The roar of lockdown shutters echoed through the building as heavy steel doors slammed shut, sealing the vault. A piercing alarm began to blare, loud enough to wake the dead. They were trapped. The two thieves stood frozen, staring at the serpent's eye as it swayed on its line between them. It was a standoff. Julian held the line, his hands steady despite the adrenaline coursing through him. Silas stood poised, ready to strike, their face hidden by a dark mask, but their posture radiating pure fury. The prize was literally hanging in the balance. Outside, they could hear the frantic shouts of guards and the approaching sirens. They had seconds, maybe a minute at most, before the vault was breached. Julian looked at Silas, then at the necklace, then back at Silas. Silas's gaze followed his, and for the first time, a glimmer of understanding passed between them. They were enemies, rivals, two apex predators fighting over the same territory. But right now, they were also the only two people in this steel tomb. The alarms wailed, a countdown to their capture. Julian tightened his grip on the line. Silas took a step forward. The choice was clear. They could fight over the jewel and both end up in chains, or they could become the most unlikely team in history. The guards were at the door, their voices muffled but urgent. The sound of a drill bit into the reinforced steel. Betrayal or alliance? What would you do? This story is just getting started. Let me know in the comments who you're rooting for, the ghost or Silas, and what you think they should do next. If you love this taste of suspense, make sure to hit that like button, share this video with a friend who loves a good heist, and subscribe for part 2. You won't want to miss how this ends. Thanks for watching.